From the MZ Studios Dallas virtual studios in cyberspace, this is Deconstructing Dallas. Greetings, everyone. It's your host, Ryan Trimble, enjoying yet another beautiful, beautiful spring day here in Dallas. Joined once again by a man who really deserves a pat on the back. He, of course, Shawn P. Williams. Shawn, good day, sir.
Good day, Ryan Trimble. I want to give props to you for being, like a suit teller, a fortune teller, like for having vision and looking outward. You have referred to our podcast many times, I've heard you say, as award winning. And it's always good to talk about yourself and what you're working on, where you want it to be versus where you are, because obviously we did not start anywhere near being an award-winning podcast.
Yes.
But, I'll be doggone if you didn't speak it into existence, and now all of a sudden Deconstructing Dallas is actually an award-winning podcast.
Oh, award-winning. The way you're saying that makes it sound like it was a solution in search of a problem, Shawn. But truly, congratulations, sir. We were recently awarded 2 awards. Two awards. The first for our podcast series, Where Do We Go From Here? This was, of course, our 4-part series following the George Floyd murder last summer. And we discussed race relations, what was going on in America last summer and continues, today, with four thought leaders from across the city. This, of course, was a brainchild of yours, Shawn, and so I was grateful to be a part of it and have learned a lot from the podcast series and have continued learning. So, really exciting news. Really exciting news.
Yeah, it was very cool. We had one of our counterparts here, Allen Media, Deborah Meek, submit the awards and our nominations, and in true fashion, we kind of put it off, and she kept on us until we made sure to get her the information she needed to submit Where Do We Go From Here for the awards. But we received a 2020 Award of Excellence in the Communicator Awards from the Association of Visual and Interactive Arts, and a Gold Award from the Hermes Awards, again, for Where Do We Go From Here. And, in the moment, it really did feel like it was something very special, and we got a lot of great insight from our conversations with Reverend Elizabeth Mosley, from Bob Sturm, from the late Bishop Omar Jarwa, who gave us great insight. And it's always something I try to get people to go back and listen to that episode, because it definitely was one of the last opportunities I had to speak with him before he passed, unfortunately, early this year. And Father Josh Whitfield. And it was really a point in time in the country. And as you said, we're still dealing with a lot of the same issues, but it was a great start of a conversation. And, shout out and kudos to our podcast team members, Samantha Matthews, and to Michael Zavala from MZ Studios. And again, to all of our colleagues at Allen Media who have helped us. But Ryan, congratulations to you and the work you've done.
Yeah, well, congrats to you too, Shawn. Pat on the back. But truly a thank you. I think probably my favorite part of the entire process, outside of our great guests, and Bishop Omar, of course, was the moment when, I thought I had figured it all out. I'd read some articles and I shared them with you, and we had a very, robust conversation about it afterwards. You were gentle, you handled it gently, and I was grateful for that. And in a subsequent episode, I said that I was going to do some more listening, like I said I was going to do at the outset of the project. So I'm still trying to be a good listener, Shawn. So I just want you to know.
Well, I appreciate you, and I don't know how your back is feeling, but mine is getting a little sore from patting one another on the back, but you can never do too much of it.
That's right.
And I appreciate our colleagues, but we still want to continue the conversation. We've got more lined up in the same vein, and we've teased this a little bit. We've got a really super episode that we've already recorded that we're just waiting to get in front of our listeners. But, we would not even be able to really keep doing it and want to do it, I don't think, if we didn't have people listening and giving us feedback. And even on that series, I've come to find that there are a few more people than our mothers that are listening to Deconstructing Dallas. And so we did have people to come up and tell us what they thought about those episodes, about those conversations, and continue to listen to our podcast. So for each and every single download that we get, each person who's listening to us right now, we want to say thank you for taking the time, because we do get the numbers and there are people listening. We would love to be more. We'd love for you to share with more people and get more involved in the conversation. We got a lot of love on social media with people congratulating us on the awards that we've been so fortunate to get over these last couple of weeks. But I just want to say thanks to everybody who's taken the time out to listen to even one episode, because that makes it a really cool thing to be able to hear people talk about.
Well, speaking of really cool things, we have a great episode today, Shawn. We are welcoming our first repeat guest today. She, of course, the great Lynn McBee. If you don't know Lynn, she's got, I don't know how long her resume is, Shawn. She's CEO of the Young Women's Preparatory Network, network of schools. She's board chair for EarthX. The list goes on, but man, she does it all. She is, I don't know, if a Renaissance woman. I don't know how to describe her. She's a great friend, and so I'm really excited to jump into our conversation with Lynn today.
Lynn is, again, as you said, has become a great friend of the firm. She's a really good friend personally. We get an opportunity to play trivia together from time to time. And to me, of all the interesting things about Lynn and all the conversation that you have with her, being a runner and all the great things, the fact that she is a biochemist and, people just totally don't even really know about that part of her life in a lot of ways. It's really amazing that someone who's so involved on a grassroots level and doing so much with the philanthropic community, really her background is as a biochemist. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation and can't wait to chat with our first return guest.
Well, let's do just that after this short break. This is Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Shawn Williams. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Shawn Williams. Shawn, super excited today. This is our very first two-time repeat appearance guest in the entire run of Deconstructing Dallas. She, of course, the great Lynn McBee. Lynn, welcome.
Hello, how are you, Ryan?
We're doing great, and we will send you the crown for returning guest in the mail. We'll have it couriered over to you later today.
I'll be looking for it.
In our first episode, Lynn, we talked about your role as the CEO of the Young Women's Preparatory Network, and one of the schools, DISD's Irma Rangel Young Women's Leadership School. The U.S. News and World Report recently ranked Irma Rangel as the number 2 high school in Texas and the number 15 school in the United States. Bravo for one, but what type of recognition does that? What does that mean for the organization and the faculty and staff there at Irma Rangel?
Yeah. Well, it means a lot in any year, but it especially means a lot right now as we're going through the pandemic. And, I think it proves up our organization will be 20 years old next year. And it proves up that when you have a really strong model and you put the right team together, that girls that are under-resourced and from diverse backgrounds and that are first generation to go to college can succeed and do amazing things. So I really, it's all about the staff. It's all about the team. But this is really quite exciting for us. And especially coming out of, this pandemic and what this has been very, very hard on educators. It's been very hard with the virtual learning. And so to have, these incredible results for Irma Ryan Hill, we're very, very proud.
And Lynn, with Irma Ryan Hill being a DISD school, and we've talked about the district and opportunities to scale on success like what you all have had. And, I wanted to get your idea on some of the initiatives that the district has, like P-Tech and early college and the direction that DISD is headed.
Yeah. I mean, DISD with their early college, P-Tech, the Dallas Promise, all of these programs that are really meeting kids and their families where they are in their educational journey. I think for a long time, we had kind of a one size model fits all, and that's just not the reality. We've got kids coming from very diverse backgrounds with very different resource allocations with very different family environments. And so to be able to provide a trade, a vocation, something that again meets that child where they are and helps them, be successful in life. I think we should be very proud of DSD and continue to support these great, different and diverse ways of learning.
Lynn, I wanted to pivot. Congratulations again. That's great. You are a busy woman, and before we started our interview, you and I were sharing our shared love for conservation of big cats, and so you recently got involved with EarthX, and we had the founder Tremel S. Crow on a couple episodes ago. What made you decide to get involved in EarthX?
Yeah. It's funny. Tramel's an old friend, and I've known him since he started EarthX. And I'll be real frank, and I've told Tremel this, when he started it 10 years ago, it was very strange in a way. You think about Dallas and Texas as being very heavy in fossil fuels, which we are. You think about it being very pro-business. And so I was, curious about it. And being someone that has grown up loving science and nature, I was a scientist before all these other things that we're talking about now, growing up playing in nature, collecting bugs and doing all the things that girls didn't traditionally do when I was growing up. So having that love of nature and watching him build this and watching him marry business and the environment and really bring business to the table to help, make those smart decisions that are going to sustain our environment. So it started as kind of like, wow, I can't believe Tramel's doing this. And then to kind of watch him and build and really be in and out of the work along the way as a volunteer and an advisor. And then when I had the opportunity to really jump in deep and help him, I think you'll all agree that if you turn on anything, it's all right now about climate change and sustainability and how we protect our resources. So the timing is absolutely perfect, and having that love for science and having my friend Tremel, and it just all kind of came together that way.
Yeah, and you've hit the ground running as board chair, and I know you were already familiar with the organization, so it's allowed for you to get off to an even faster start. But what's your vision for EarthX, and what are you all hoping to accomplish?
Yeah. So over this pandemic, we'd always been a yearly exposition. So there'd be a big expo down at Fair Park, and we'd have conferences and high-level talks, and then we'd have a lot of different displays and things for the public to interact with. Well, during the pandemic, we obviously couldn't do that. So we took everything virtual, and from that, we birthed EarthX TV. And I hope everyone will tune in and watch earthxtv.com. We've got a lot of diverse programming, something for children, something for adults, something for business. I mean, we kind of have it all. So I think to be able to be that very large platform, an international platform, when we look at our numbers and we're reaching millions of people a week, and when we look at them, there are people all across the globe. So to be that megaphone that brings the right and the left, the Republicans and the Democrats, all walks of life together to make the right kind of decision for our environment. So I think we'll continue to go down that path of building up EarthX TV. And then I know Tremel, we had a meeting the other morning. He is hot to trot on bringing the exposition back. So we'll see how that takes shape.
Now, when we talked to Trammell, we were right on I think they had just kicked off. It was day one or just right a couple days before